Today we are talking about the age-old question, should you buy or rent in Tacoma, Washington? What's going on, everyone? I'm Baggio. I'm a local realtor here in Tacoma, Washington. I have worked everywhere from Seattle down to Olympia, Tumwater, and everywhere in between. So without further ado, let's get into the rest of the video. Now, renting versus buying. It is a common question that a lot of people struggle with, and it's not the easiest to answer either. There are pros and cons to buying versus renting, and it really just comes down to what is your situation. So first, let's talk about the benefits of buying a home. So one of the biggest advantages is it's a great investment, true and true over time. I know there's a lot of hearsay, and there might be articles out there on all the negatives about what the housing market might be doing, what it looks like for the future of housing in America. But just true and true, you can look at the stats. Just know that over time, buying is the single most common way for families and individuals to build wealth. So when you own a home, you have equity that you're building, right? You have a way, pretty much a backup in any situation that you can tap into as far as an asset goes, in financial struggles, in emergencies. There's ways that you can utilize your home that you're owning to help you in other ways of life. Now, you're not gonna get that from renting, right? When you're renting, that money is just going down the drain. You're not getting anything in return. You are not having a backup asset for more stability. And of course, when you go to move, you're not getting that big chunk to be able to elevate your family, yourself, to the next step in life. On the other hand, there are some drawbacks to owning a home. Now, some realtors might not be telling you the negatives about it, but I here want to make sure you get the full picture. For one, it is a big financial commitment, okay? You have to have, depending on your situation, whether if you're a VA buyer, it might be a little easier because that's a 0% down payment. But if you're going through other loan options, you're gonna have to have a certain percentage for the down payment. You have to cover closing costs in some cases. You have to cover inspection and appraisal costs when you're buying the home. All this does make it a big financial commitment. And with that money that you're putting into it technically is tied up in the home. And you do have to wait some time before you can tap into that equity, tap into that money that you poured into in the first place. Now, secondly, and honestly, this might be a big thing for some people too, because I know I hear it from a lot of people who rent, is the maintenance side, right? You, as the homeowner, are now going to be responsible for some things that in the past, your landlord, the property manager, the people at the front office of the apartment, they're the ones that are dealing with it. Guess what? Now all that is on you. And that is a big drawback for some people. For example, I will give you a handful of my own personal experiences from owning a home. So my wife and I, we had our first home, and the first awakening I had to this was we had a counter guy come in to replace the counters, put some nice quartz white countertops in there to make the kitchen really stand out. But he left out the part where he told me that, hey, I'm not gonna put in the faucet or the garbage disposal into the new sink. What's that leave me? It leaves me a kitchen without a working sink, because guess what? I'm the one that has to figure out how to put that in now. I remember when he walked out and he was like, no, I don't do that. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm sitting there and I'm just like, all right, well, it looks like I'm gonna figure out how to put a faucet and a garbage disposal in today. That was at the beginning of my journey of trying to be a handyman and trying to do my own repairs. So it did take a while. If I look back on it now, I could do it a lot faster, a lot quicker, but that was definitely a learning experience. Now, move on to the second home. There's been some more issues because honestly, the home is a little older too. So first off, our water heater went out. Had that happen when my wife she was 8 months pregnant, I think at the time, with our daughter. And my wife was losing it because she was like, what if, my son, what if we have our baby soon and we don't have hot water in the house? Had to figure that out within 48 hours. Luckily, we were able to circumvent not having hot water for a little bit, and we were able to get that fixed with a home warranty, which we like to cover for you if you're a home buyer through us. Now, don't let these things scare you, right? Everybody has been in that situation as a homeowner one way or another. No one situation is perfect, and that's why you have contractors. That's why you have home warranties in place from a reliable agent like myself who will cover you for the first year of home ownership. Things that are there to alleviate these pains, right? Before we get into the rest of the video, just a reminder, I am a local realtor from Seattle to Olympia, everywhere in between. So if you or somebody you know is interested in moving in the area, feel free to reach out. I would love to help you. So let's get back into it. Now let's talk about the benefits of renting. First off, it's more than likely more affordable than buying a home. You do not have to have upfront money. You might have to have some type of security deposit, but that's about it. And other than that, you just start paying the rent. It's usually lower than a mortgage, and you usually can know for the lease agreement how much you're paying for the 6 months to a year at a time. Secondly, you have flexibility if you're to and from places. You don't have to feel like you're stuck having to take care of getting a renter for your own asset, or hey, how am I going to make these different repairs before I get out and make it livable and nice to hit the market if I'm trying to sell something. It is just easy to pick up your stuff, move from place to place, and it allows you to just continue to live on like you don't have to worry about anything else where you just came from. Now some cons to renting. First one is you don't have say or control over your living situation a lot. You are at the hands of the landlord, you're at the hands of the apartment complex, you're at the hands of their rules and regulations and what they have in place for you. You can't customize or make that home your own, or you can't make that apartment your own. You are really just stuck to what they make sure that they can, hey, if you leave, they need to have it in a condition that it can just go right back to the next person. Now, just as easy as you can get into a place to rent, you can get out, and you're getting out with nothing in return. That money that you just gave up for rent month to month, you're not building equity, you're not getting a nice chunk of money on the sale of whatever you were renting. To be honest with you, that's why we say it's the interest rate for renting is 100% because you're not getting anything back. And it's a cliche saying, but it is what it is, right? You're working hard to meet that monthly payment, but at the end of the day, there's nothing in return other than, hey, I had the flexibility to just bounce and go find the next place. So we're talking about not getting anything back in return for that monthly payment you're making. And if you want to just look at the numbers, let's break it down. You have, let's just say a $2,500 per month rent payment here in Tacoma, which, to be honest, that's kind of on the lower end depending on what you're renting. That could be a normal apartment right now. You're looking anywhere between 25 to 3 grand a month, correct? So 3 grand on the high end a month for 12 months, that's 36K, 36 grand. That right there in itself is enough for a down payment on a house and the rest, and covering the rest of those upfront costs for buying a home, correct? So realistically, you're looking at, hey, yeah, I'm paying for a place to live, but at the end of the day, 36 grand just kind of, hey, went to the landlord, right? You're paying their mortgage. Talking about a mortgage too. Mortgages are made up of 4 things. It's PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. So if you want to break it down to simplest terms, and you can use the other cliche that everyone says, you date the rate you buy the home. What is that? Your sales price, your final price of the home is not going to change, but your interest rate can. So you can be stuck with a high interest rate for a little bit, 6 months to a year, but you refinance and that can change. And realistically, if you're looking at that initial home price and payment, if everything is done right, that's going to be the highest that payment will ever be on that home. It can only go down from there. So what's the best option for you? Situation dependent, right? If you have stability with your job, if you have a longing for some type of investing long-term, buying is probably for you, especially here in Tacoma. Tacoma, Washington, look, you have the water on your west, you have the mountains to your east, there is limited land available, and people are scrapping by to try to find places to live. So what is that? We're talking about location, location, location. Your investment will continue to rise here in Tacoma. But if you don't have the stability with your job, if you're looking like, hey, I don't know if I'll even be laying down roots here, I really need to make sure I have this flexibility, I really need more time to save up for a down payment, then renting is for you. If you enjoyed this video, if you found value in it, or if you're still unsure whether you can rent or buy, feel free to reach out, like, comment, subscribe, or share this to somebody who has these similar questions. And I would love to help out. We love getting messages and questions from everyone that watches these videos. So I can't wait to help you and look forward to hearing from you guys soon.